I'm Zachariah Zach Attacks Swope.
I'm James Cleary.
And I am Alex.
And this is
GeekTalk.
Alright, so we're short.
We're short several members.
Yeah, I mean, Henry's been taking the back burner for the last few times.
I've been pulling the reserve members.
And Adam, he's been out pretty much all but twice this semester. And Rashid's not here with us today. He originally was going to.
Yep, we don't even have a guest today.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah,
with us three.
Yep. So there's not much on the news in the last 2 weeks since we've been on. There's some big stuff, but nothing like in terms of quantity. There's not a lot.
Yep.
I thought it would be wise to say that to start off with. This month, it marks the 75th anniversary of Batman for DC.
He's getting old.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around for quite some time. But there's, I don't know, Bruce Timm released a new animated short, 2.5 minutes. You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's got the same style from the animated series.
Except it's black and white this time. Which is pretty cool. I mean, I thought... Plus, they used, like, 2 smaller villains, not, like, ones that aren't widely used.
Yeah, it's like if the animated series met something from, like, the 50s.
Yeah.
Well, the animated series was supposed to be noir, so, I mean, it just sort of continued the noir feel.
And it just comes to show how much Bruce Timm is really good at doing animated Batman.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, even though it was like 3 minutes or whatever.
And Batman only had 2 words, but still, he's like, for now.
Yeah, still don't know who did that. It didn't exactly sound like Kevin Conroy.
I don't think it was Kevin Conroy.
It was probably a guy in the studio.
It probably was.
That could use a low voice.
Yeah, they probably tried to get it as close to Kevin Conroy as possible, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Couldn't even find a sound clip somewhere from previous works.
Yeah, for this episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about Batman for our pick of the week and SmackDown, which we'll get to a little bit later. But now for our news roundup.
News time.
All right. I think it would be cool to start off with something we talked about last time very briefly. It really wasn't much. Remember when we talked about Duke Nukem and 3D Realms? Well, they changed the link all out of gum, and it's like no gum is like the new link or something like that. And now they're saying it was never a Duke Nukem game, though we are working on a Duke Nukem game. So it's for a game that has nothing to do with Duke Nukem. And Gearbox is like... yeah, I know. Gearbox is still outright saying is they still technically breaking copyright, and the fact that they admitted they're still making a Duke Nukem game, this suit will continue. So,
well, 3D Realms is bad because they ran their studio into the ground by trying to make a game that turned out to be not good.
What games have they made?
Duke Nukem.
Okay.
Duke Nukem.
Yeah, Duke Nukem games. Yeah.
And Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. My favorite Duke Nukem game though, I think one of their best is the 2D. I think the best way they did it was the 2D scrollers were the best. I think in terms of Duke Nukem, not like, but like when it hit like Duke Nukem, was it Forever? I was like, they had so many outdated references in that game.
Yeah.
Like Halo and the Olsen twins.
When you work on a project for 13 years?
Yeah. It's bound to be irrelevant.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun for what it was, but for a $60 game, not worth it. Another thing in the news. Let's see. They announced PAX East was last week.
Yep.
This last weekend. But leading up to PAX East, there was an announcement of a Borderlands sequel. Well, a Borderlands pre-sequel.
But is it a sequel?
It's a sequel to the first game, but a prequel to the second game.
Okay.
You're playing members of the Hyperion Corporation and helping Jack. You see you know how like in the second game, Jack's like how he was the hero.
Yeah.
Well, that's the explanation. This game's going to explain why he thinks he's the hero.
Well,
of
I'm
the
not very
story.
invested into the rich storyline of the Borderlands universe because it's Diablo with guns, and I like that. But at the same time, this is a 360 and PS3 release, so I don't really know.
It's not next gen.
I'm
It's
not
surprising.
gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna do that.
I'm probably going to play it because I'm a Borderlands fan, but and plus you can actually play as a armored, gun-toting claptrap in this game.
That's awesome.
yeah, so you get to play.
I've never played Borderlands, but even I know about Claptrap.
Yeah, so you actually get to play as a claptrap who's like a tank, and apparently he's psychotic.
Like this will probably be perfectly fun.
I
This will probably be a perfectly fun game, but it's most likely just a back burner project that they're doing before they can get out Borderlands
next gen.
3.
Yeah, I mean, plus then we also have that Tales from the Borderlands from Telltale, which which they officially said they started working on. Like they just did the trailer and they weren't really working on it.
I hope Telltale doesn't
Fuck it
use
up.
too much of their time on that one and work on their other really good franchises and
Yeah.
expected good franchises like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with it. I'm a fan of Borderlands, so it took me a while to get into the first Borderlands game. It's one of those games where you have to have kind of patience for the first game,
Yeah.
but the second game is a lot of fun. And also worth noting is that the sequel, well, this new game, is going to have more content than the first game, but less content than the second. So we're still going to have a lot of content, but it's going to be less than the first, more than the first at least. Another thing in the news: Dragon Age Inquisition will possibly utilize the Kinect. I mean, you played the Dragon Age franchise, right?
Yeah, I've played Dragon Age 1. I skipped Dragon Age 2. And I'm not the person to be super excited for it. Henry is more of the big fan of Dragon Age. If they come up with a nice way to use Kinect, then that's fine. Kinect is a very good support mechanism for games. It's kind of dumb when they implement it too much, or when they implement it in annoying minor ways. Like you guys must have heard when they released the Xbox One, like if you swear while playing NBA 2K14, they'll give you a technical foul.
Yeah.
Which can be annoying if you're.
That's just too much realism right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you start cursing at your game because you got fouled for cursing.
Yeah. You'll be like, shit! Oh, shit! It's like that Anchorman 2 scene where he's on the news and he's like, I don't know what I do wrong. He's like, shit! Did I just say shit? Shit! So yeah, I don't know.
There's some clever gamer who changed his gamer tag to Xbox off, and then he'd go around.
Well, the command phrase is Xbox turn off, and I think someone else did that.
Yeah,
but the first dude to do it was Xbox sign out, which is funny too.
Yeah, and then he'd go around trolling other people, and then other people, like the 10-year-old kids, whatever, playing Call of Duty or whatever, were just like, "Hey man, I'm going to report you. Report. Xbox sign off. No, wait, don't do that."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very clever on his part. James pointed out they had a Smash Brothers initiative.
They had a kind of a release where they showed stuff. And I know we don't talk about Nintendo a lot, but I thought this was kind of big.
Well, they announced the release date and a couple new characters for that, right?
Yeah, their release date being kind of a general summer and
It's
winter.
it's winter. It's
Yeah,
winter.
3DS I think is going to be like next year, and then the
Now 3DS is this summer, and
I thought, it was
And
the
like-
Wii U.
I
is
thought the
gonna
Wii
be-
U comes
It's going to be like
first.
this Christmas, right?
No, Wii U actually comes second. Yeah,
Or
probably
in time for Christmas.
Yeah, probably something.
I can
like that.
picture it definitely being out in time for Christmas.
But some of the notable changes they have is that if you've played Brawl, one of the cool things you do is you have characters transform or change, like Zelda and
Yep.
Sheik and Pokemon Trainer could change, and you don't do that anymore. They have Charizard as a playable character in the game, but it's just Charizard. Pokemon Trainer is apparently not.
I noticed that. I thought that was strange, because I kind of liked I liked Pokemon Trainer in Brawl, and I liked being able to switch between 3 different styles.
Yeah, I mean that was the gimmick. Besides that, it was just kind of like none of them were really exclusively awesome.
And plus, we have like 2 playable Pokemon, and what's the other Pokemon in this one?
The new one that's been announced is Greninja.
Like they're definitely having Pikachu. I'm
Yeah.
assuming, right?
Oh yeah, they always have Pikachu.
Are they going to have Jigglypuff
Probably,
too?
probably gonna have
They're going to have
Jigglypuff.
4 Pokemon.
Jigglypuff
characters?
hasn't
Wow.
been announced, but they always have Jigglypuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
But then they also have Lucario, and it said that Lucario is going to have his Mega Evolution.
Lucario's dumb.
Lucario was my favorite character in Brawl, actually, just because I really like Mewtwo and Melee. He was the closest thing.
I really liked Mewtwo, but I would have preferred Mewtwo than Lucario.
Yeah.
Just that's my opinion.
do you think shit, what I was gonna say, for this new game, how many fighters in all do you think there will be?
I don't know.
Do you think it's gonna be a lot, or is it just gonna be like?
I think it's going to be at least around the same amount they had in Brawl, especially because they're splitting characters now. You play as Zelda and Sheik, not
Mhm.
Zelda and Sheik. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they also did for Samus too. Samus's final smash doesn't change.
I think isn't Bayonetta a new player now?
No.
Somebody was saying Bayonetta is
No.
because
That would
she's
be
now
hilarious.
she's now a
She's not.
because she's now a Nintendo
But
exclusive.
The notable ones that have been added are Wii Fit Trainer, Mega Man, and somehow
and Animal Crossing.
Yeah, the
Kid,
Animal
or
Crossing
whatever.
feature, which has been memed so much. It's hilarious. But the other kind of interesting thing is for the 3DS version exclusively, they took the idea from Kirby Air Ride. If you've ever played that game for City Trial,
Yeah.
where you go around collecting power ups and stuff, and then you do.
No,
something
yeah.
like
Kirby
that.
Air Ride is a fun game.
It is fantastic. One of the best GameCube games. And they took that idea and they basically put it for Brawl. You go around getting power ups, and then you duke it out with your friends, and whoever has the most power ups has an advantage. So, but it's interesting because they have the same characters for the 3DS and Wii U, but the stages are different as well.
Yeah, I think 3DS is going to have their own little modes as well. I think they're going to have like
There's
they're
that
gonna-
mode, a few others.
Yeah, 3DS is going to have their own exclusive modes.
They have an online mode exclusively for Final Destination, no items.
Yeah, I remember seeing the post where they said that you could make every map into a Final Destination-esque flat map, and I thought that was interesting, I guess, because that's the way the competitive scene plays.
Yeah.
So at least you don't have to deal with just Final Destination as a map anymore.
No items. Fox and
Yeah, so we have some Nintendo seems to have something big on their hands for once.
The question is, could this save the Wii U? To which I say no. So
Yeah, Nintendo is really riding a lot that this
they're
could-
basically existing solely on the 3DS. at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I think they're slowly giving up on the Wii U.
Yeah, no one here wants the Nintendo to fail, but looking bad right now.
But Peter Molyneux, this is also bringing me into another news thing I didn't write down. Peter Molyneux, the guy who created Fable,
Yep.
outright said that the Kinect is a joke, and also in that same statement, he says, "Do not put Nintendo out of the count yet, because Nintendo will rise from the ashes as a giant phoenix."
Nintendo's not going to die or anything. They're really Nintendo's too big to fail. So really, more or less, they're just having
Well, they've been
bad
failing
time.
they've been failing for years now, going on a couple years now, and I feel I don't know. I mean, ever since the Wii,
See,
they've kind of been going downhill a little
But
bit.
part of it is you're comparing them to how they've been doing in the past, which is phenomenal, and now their sales are dropping. But it's not putting them out.
They're not making money though. They're not making money. They lost a ton of money off because of the Wii U.
They could lose like $1 million every year for the next 50 years and still stay in business.
Well, they're losing more than $1 million, so yeah. But anyways, this brings me to another thing.
To address that, I think Peter Molyneux is a joke.
Exactly.
He was the guy that first encouraged the Kinect. If any of you remember,
I remember
the Project Natal, where it was like a tech demo of a 10-year-old boy that was like super smart. He was like a super smart AI, and he could interact with you and talk to you, and would understand every word you said and would react to it in like clear and fluent language. And that never came out.
No.
But that was a Peter Molyneux like headed project that just careened off the edge. He left Lionhead. Lionhead has been doing its own thing.
I mean, they've done Fable. He's most famous. He's very famous for the Fable games.
Did he leave before Fable 3 or after?
He was working on Fable 3, but he left like very shortly after, I think. Or I think he may have left in the middle of production.
Well,
or something like that. I have to look that up.
Fable 3 is not a very good game. Fable 2 is alright.
The first game was...
Fable 1 is also alright.
Yeah. Fable Journey
is a wiener. Though.
Fable Journey never happened though.
Yeah, Fable Journey is a bad Kinect game because the Xbox 360's Kinect was bad.
Yeah.
Kinect 1 was bad.
Yeah.
And if he's talking about Kinect 1, then he's completely justified.
But he was saying how his son and him were playing Xbox One, and he would like shout commands at it. You don't just shout commands at the Xbox, at the Kinect. It's more than that, if I'm correct. I mean,
yeah.
So he's like, you just shout at. He's like, I shout at Kinect's commands at the Kinect, and they don't always respond. And I'm like, well, you
it's
don't.
Almost like his living space might not be calibrated correctly for the hearing sensors of the Kinect.
Exactly. But I mean,
it's almost like he's getting angry for things.
I'm not a fan of the Kinect personally, but when he wants to say it's a joke, I do believe it's innovative. And it does have some sort of future.
It's innovative and it has its uses.
Yes.
It is not a joke.
But it's not a joke.
It's really more of just kind of like a gimmick in some ways. Like people who believe that this is the future of gaming are sorely misled. People, like you're pretty much always going to have some kind of control.
Phil Spencer, the new head of Xbox, he is a very big supporter of the Kinect. And
it's fun.
But I'm curious to see if, personally... my biggest drawback for the Xbox One is that it's so expensive because it's bundled with the Kinect. I think if they...
I don't think you're ever... I've said this before, that I thought you were going to see a Kinect-less Xbox. I don't think you're going to see a Kinect-less Xbox.
Especially now that Phil Spencer's head of Xbox.
Because the Kinect is like an integral part of like the Xbox ideology, basically, now.
Yeah.
And
that's all.
That could be their
I think it's a good thing. The most recent like Total Kinect game that came out, I think it's Kinect Sports Rivals, was apparently very good.
Yeah, I heard really good things about that.
Apparently it's real fun.
Yeah, I think
if it wasn't $60,
I think if people look at it as people like to look at the Kinect and they think, oh, it's very much like the Xbox 360 version, but that's not the case. I myself have used the Kinect for the Xbox One. I think it's better than the 360 version for sure.
It's much more useful now.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say that little tidbit because Nintendo, and we talked about the Kinect, the Xbox a little bit earlier, but
he might be right on the Nintendo part, but he's completely wrong on the Kinect.
Yeah, him saying that it's practically him saying about Nintendo is. Nintendo will rise from the ashes like a beautiful phoenix.
I wouldn't go so far to say it's rise from the ashes, but I won't say Nintendo's going out of business anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think they're going out of business anytime soon. But another thing in the news, let's see. Marvel has become the biggest movie franchise since Captain America 2.
No surprise there.
No, it isn't. It surpassed Harry Potter, but when you look at it, Harry Potter had 8 movies, and Marvel has 9.
How many has been? It's
8 because the seventh.
Spider-Man ones were Sony. What
But
were
they
the
don't count. They're
Fantastic-
counting. They're only counting the
They're only counting post Iron Man.
yeah, Iron Man and to today for the Disney's franchises.
Okay.
Because technically they're separate. So Disney's
I didn't know if they counted like Fantastic Four. Right?
yeah, no, they're not counting those. They're counting the Disney movies. So from Iron Man, Iron Man 2, 3, Thor 1 and 2,
Alright.
Captain America.
Are they counting Star Wars? And if so, are they counting the
Star Wars is in
merchandise?
third place right now.
Does that include the merchandise?
No.
Does that blow things out?
But I mean, it's no surprise that Marvel is now the biggest movie franchise.
I mean, they have a ton of material to use.
And they apparently they're planned out for 2028.
Oh God.
Yeah, Kevin Feige apparently has a map in his office that pretty much goes around his whole office, and it has a map including this Black Panther, Doctor Strange, stuff like that.
I don't like that idea.
Yeah, so
Probably leading up to the Civil War.
but the thing is, they're from what I'm hearing though too is the Avenger after it'll take longer to get to each Avengers movie, during each phase. So each phase is going to be drawn out a little bit longer compared to.
Speaking of Black Panther, I do think he should use that movie.
Doctor Strange needs his own movie. Especially when they
Yeah.
teased him in Captain America 2, which we'll get to in a little bit. All right, so yeah, that's something worth mentioning. Also in Marvel movie news, Channing Tatum is possibly going to be Gambit.
Yep.
I don't know what to think about that. I think he could be good.
Yeah, of course this is all rumor right now, but I mean, there's word that Channing is interested and Marvel's interested in it. And
Foxes, yeah.
And Fox or whatever. I'm optimistic, I guess. I like Gambit as a character, and I don't know. We haven't seen him on the screen except for cameos and stuff.
Except for that awful Wolverine Origins.
Yeah, well,
Kind of depends on how well you can pull off the accent, I guess.
Yeah, is Channing Tatum even close to Louisianian?
No.
But I mean, he's been really good in his movies, though. I mean, he has a good track record lately. So I mean, I'll be curious to see how he does. I myself, I'm willing to give him a chance, because of his track record.
I mean, I don't mind them ignoring that, Gambit's a Bayou guy, but yeah.
I think he certainly has the look.
If he's still good without that part of his character, then sure.
Yeah. And he certainly has the look.
Yeah, he looks sort of like Gambit.
Yeah. So I mean, that's something.
It wouldn't be too bad.
If it would be at least it'll probably be better than Origins.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with
I
Tyler
know,
Kitsch,
that
with Tyler
Gambit-
Kitsch as Gambit.
That game was kind of good. It's just the movie itself is pretty bad.
True.
Wolverine movies are bad. Fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. and
Wolverine
there's
is
gonna be
a
a
bad
Wolverine,
character to focus on.
and there's going to be a third Wolverine movie.
Great, wonderful.
Yeah. But yeah, so Gambit will probably be, this will if he's anything he'll be in Apocalypse.
Wolverine 3. We simply can't kill him.
Wolverine 3. This time Hugh Jackman gets another paycheck.
Or Wolverine 3, we're doing the Wolverine in the style of Les Mis.
Oh.
like that
Okay.
video that he did.
So what's next?
Oh, another thing is, sequel-wise, Samuel Jackson might return for Die Hard 6 as Zeus
Oh,
from Die Hard 3.
yeah.
They're very confident that he's going to be in it.
That,
Just depends on scheduling.
that seems like they're pulling at strings for something relevant. I didn't watch 5. I watched 4. 4 was okay.
5 is actually pretty fun. I enjoyed
Really?
5.
I heard mixed things.
I enjoyed 5. Was it the best one? No, not even close. But it was a fun.
I think they really need to put Die Hard to bed,
Yeah,
but they can't because
No.
it's Hollywood.
and
They will keep doing Die Hard.
and as long as Bruce
until
Willis wants
Bruce
to do it,
Willis is alive or not retired.
or Bruce Willis is the one that keeps on coming back. He's the one that wants to do it.
They keep offering money.
Yeah.
I say no.
Though he turned down the Expendables 3. That's just worth mentioning.
I don't remember if there was much good about. I'm still excited about Expendables 3, even though Expendables 2 was awful. Oh God, it was awful.
I mean, let's see. We have Banderas, Mel Gibson. We have
Chuck
Harrison.
Norris made Chuck Norris jokes, and Chuck Norris is dog shit at acting.
Here,
Okay.
I think the best line that the best line in the Expendables 2 is it true that you got bit by a cobra? After 3 days of excruciating pain and fighting it, the cobra died.
I don't remember what the best moments of Expendables 2 were the really bad pieces of dialogue that Dolph Lundgren had
Like,
and Arnold Schwarzenegger had.
yeah, I'm curious to see what bad lines they have in the third movie.
Yeah, there was the one exchange between Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger near the end where Arnold Schwarzenegger says, "I'll be back." And if I remember correctly, I think Bruce Willis visibly rolls his eyes.
And then they also did Bruce Willis doing a yippee-ki-yay, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger cuts him off.
Yeah, it was a bad movie.
It's fun. It's bad, but it's also fun to watch a little bit. I'll admit. It's one of those guilty pleasures that you.
If they do a 3, are they just going to talk about how old Arnold Schwarzenegger is?
Yeah, Bruce Willis is not in the third one, but they have Mel Gibson.
Bruce Willis is not in the third?
No, they have Mel Gibson, Banderas, Kelsey Grammer.
Like break his spine for the last one, if I remember
correctly.
correctly.
No, Stallone did.
Yes,
Stallone did. Yeah, so they have Kelsey Grammer, Mel Gibson, Antonio Banderas, Harrison Ford.
I was back in when I heard that Kelsey Grammer was in it.
And Harrison Ford.
Even though Kelsey Grammer's probably going to have a bit part anyway. I don't really care about Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford does
There's already talk about an Expendables 4, and they're trying to get Jack Nicholson to be in it.
Oh, go. Sure, just keep going.
No. Okay, next thing on news. Okay, I'm going to get the hard stuff out, okay, since we're already moping about it. Transformers 4 is going to kick off a new trilogy.
Great.
No surprise. No surprise. No. I just thought it'd be worth mentioning
Transformers Paycheck Trilogy.
No.
Yeah, Michael Bay's done.
Zach, you promised me this was the last one.
It's confirmed. No, I never said it was. I said it was going to be Michael Bay. I said it was going to be Michael Bay's last movie, and it's actually confirmed that Michael Bay has stepped down. He's going to be a producer. He's going to be in producing duties.
Great.
They're searching for a new direct. They're searching for a new director, and rumor has it they have a short list of the guy who's doing the new Godzilla movie, and some other guy. Another thing in the news: Friday the 13th is going to be rebooted, a la found footage.
You know what? I mean,
they're doing it in found footage style.
That's understandable. Friday the 13th. Has been a dead franchise for a while. So if they need to reboot it in found footage to make it relevant to today, then sure.
Found footage though is a fad idea. Like I'm surprised it hasn't died out. But the directors they got to do it are the guy. Whoever knew the movies VHS, VHS 2. Those are the guys that are directing it.
Well, I haven't seen them. So I'm not a big horror guy.
Those movies are disturbing. I'll just say, but those guys are directing it.
I mean, if they're rebooting it, they've got plenty of angles to go with. They could go with the classic, like semi-supernatural serial killer idea. They could go with just a regular serial killer idea.
I would love it if they do redo the whole first movie. Instead, it would be with the campers filming their weekend.
Yes,
I guess
we know shot-for-shot remakes or.
It's not a shot-for-shot remake, but the point of view of a video camera, But so yeah, we're past all that mopey news, but now we're into some good stuff. Star Wars has started filming.
Sure.
Yay!
Okay.
And they actually released a photo of them filming in Abu Dhabi, and there was
like a big round door and like a huge tent surrounding it.
Well, actually, it wasn't a door.
It was like a big round thing, though. Still.
And apparently, it's a foot of an AT-AT.
Well, a foot of an AT-AT is round, so...
I know, but still...
right.
Yeah, they released that. And
something mechanical.
And Harrison Ford, on Reddit over the weekend, kind of confirmed that he's in the movie.
Of course he's in the movie.
He's in that. It has a picture of him, like, in Abu Dhabi or something.
How are they going to have Chewbacca in the movie without Han Solo?
Yeah, they have...
They already confirmed him.
Yeah, Peter Mayhew's back, so... But yeah, I think I'm really excited. It's finally back, So then Oculus Rift has been announced that they sold 85,000 developer kits.
Of their dev kits, yeah.
This could mean a lot of things. It means developers are very into it.
Yeah. A lot of developers really like the Oculus Rift, which isn't a surprise. It was the first big independent push into 3D or VR stuff
and kind of motion
in a long time. And despite everyone sort of grumbling about how Facebook might kill it or whatever, I don't think that's the case. But everyone seems pretty optimistic about it.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic. I'm very excited to see. Apparently, Sony, with their Project Morpheus, I'm curious to see how they're going to do that because of Oculus Rift has been around for longer. I wonder how that's going to affect, if anything, Oculus Rift.
See, the problem with Project Morpheus and Oculus Rift is that who's going to buy two things?
Yeah.
Who's going to buy an Oculus Rift and whatever Project Morpheus is?
That's not
Morpheus
the final name. I don't know if that's the final name, but
nobody's going to buy both. Whatever Morpheus becomes and an Oculus.
Yeah, it's also going to probably just depend on price.
Yeah. So if PS4 is going to have like VR stuff, are they going to make it compatible to the Oculus? Maybe, probably not. That might take away like a huge market share that they have.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious. I'll be curious to see what they do.
I'm curious as well.
Hopefully we'll find something. Maybe E3. We'll find out a little bit more about E3.
They're definitely going to talk about it.
About E3. Project Morpheus and stuff. I mean, we have E3 in a little over.
That's June.
But yeah, July? We have like a month and a half. Yeah. We have like a month and a half to like the biggest gaming conference of the year. So I am very curious to see what is in store.
We'll hear a lot about games in the next couple months.
Yeah, I mean we've already had PAX East, so which they're also going to do a new PAX conference, PAX Southwest or something like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
But also in the news department, apparently DualShock 4 controllers have been slowly breaking. To some people that have owned the PS4, it's the left thumbstick.
That's because people
been pushing it down a lot too, like the pushing down, like when they push L3 button, or my controller, it's not breaking, but the rubber it's on it is like kind of deteriorating and like.
Like the rubber part of the analog stick is.
The analog stick. That's what's breaking. The analog stick.
I've seen before in the past, like pictures of like the rubber torn off of it and stuff.
It's not just.
Like that.
And Sony has said they would fix it, but you have to pay for shipping and handling. But you get it fixed for free.
Well, it depends on how much that shipping and handling is.
Yeah.
But I mean, it should
plus then you also have to wait to use.
Unless this is a huge problem with basically all of
this
the first
isn't
wave PS4 controllers.
That's the thing though. This is happening to a lot of people after like 4 or 5 months after release. I mean, we're at the 5-month mark.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious to see what Sony will do for it. I mean, their customer service has been phenomenal up to now. So I'm curious to see if they're going to do anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, neither of the consoles have any big failures. My Xbox One controller is working pretty well. There's like some scuffs because of where I put my thumb on the controller, because of the material that it's made out of. It shows like a couple scuffs and stuff, but that's just nitpicking.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, my controller works fine. Otherwise, it's just the rubber. Another thing worth mentioning in Sony, Infamous Second Son sold over 1 million copies in 9 days for their biggest. That is their biggest PS4 game launch to date. Sold better.
It's only 5 months in.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the games that have released, especially Killzone, it sold better than Killzone, and Knack. And it's also the best-selling game in the Infamous franchise.
That's more impressive because there's been 3 or 2.
This is the third one. The second one sold quite a bit, and the first one sold quite a bit in a short time. But this one sold more quite a shorter time. So I thought that was really cool.
Pretty good for them.
And I'm curious to see what other games they have down the road. They also announced a new zombie MMO called H1Z1. I don't know if you heard about this.
No. Any other information about it?
They released a screenshot. They're saying there's going to be more at E3, but I'm feeling that they're going to copy Daisy.
That's a not so obvious combination of like the H1N1.
Yeah, it's not. It's
Spyco
pretty
versus
obvious, but
zombie.
I think they're also going to. I think they're going to also copy a little bit Daisy. I think that's why they're jumping
That's
in
the
on
new
it.
fad.
Yeah, they're trying to copy another.
Although if I remember correctly, don't the Daisy devs say that they're planning a port to the next gen?
I think so too. So I think Sony's trying to jump. I think Sony wants to
Whatever.
compete. If there's going to be a game on their console,
There's
they want-
plenty of ways to make a zombie game.
But it's
and
free to
also-
play too. They announced that. They announced.
Also, zombies are oversaturated in the
Yeah,
market. So
yeah. They also said the game will be free to play.
to any developers out there that are making this game, stop. Zombie games are tiring.
Try werewolves. That's a new twist.
Railroads?
Werewolves.
Oh.
No one really does werewolves.
Why don't they do a zombie railroad game?
Zombie railroads in there.
Okay. Let's see. Speaking of werewolves, I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there have been people very outspoken about the subscription policy.
Well, what else about it?
Well, here's the
Because
thing.
everybody's pretty much hated the idea that it's a subscription based.
Well, I think people have gotten past the idea that it's subscription based, but the fact that they bought the game and they are supposed to get 30 days free, you actually have to pre-authorize your account. So you're charged the $15 a month before you get your user free 30 days. And that's pretty much driving people away.
That doesn't make any sense.
They want you to.
I understand a lot of MMOs make you put in a credit card when you're making an account.
Yeah, but they don't pre-authorize.
But yeah,
for your,
they don't make you pay before
yeah,
your 30
that's
months
what's the issue
30
here.
months
That's
is
what's
up.
the issue. I think people, because there are people that paid $60 for the game, plus then they have the free 30 days, yet they can't do that until they pay $15.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah.
And I still give it 6 months until it goes free to play.
I'm playing it right now. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But another thing worth mentioning: Rogue will not be cut from Days of Future Past after all.
Okay.
They said they cut her stuff. That's kind of a big thing because people were begging Singer to not cut her out.
That's awkward because she did lose her powers technically in the last
Yeah.
one. She got cured. So
Yeah, so I'm very. I mean, so
they're
did
gonna have to
Magneto.
explain that.
So did Magneto.
It's a good point, but
Is the first X-Men trilogy even like canon to this?
I think so,
trilogy
it is.
anymore?
actually, yeah. It's,
Yeah.
It's interesting
Because it means it's got Patrick Stewart and
they're-
like all the
they're
other
like combining
trilogy.
the original trilogy with like the alternate universe of First Class. in this one.
So, and from what I'm thinking is, what happens in this one will change up the timeline, so it'll make like the other movies never happened. So it's very
actually, that
confusing.
makes sense,
Yeah.
yeah.
So once Days of Future Past happens, it technically would be that X-Men 1, 2, and 3 never happened.
Because yeah, if Future Past is the future of First Class's timeline, then it makes sense for nothing in the X-Men trilogy to have happened.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. So that'll be fixed, I guess. Now on to some HBO news. True Detective. Yeah, True Detective has been now said to be the most watched freshman series.
With reason.
I have not
True
watched
Detective
it.
is very good.
I've been really wanting to watch that, and I just never gotten the time around to it. And on other news too, Game of Thrones broke HBO Go during the premiere.
Yeah.
That is no surprise, but
I remember trying to log in and it just straight up crashed. It didn't even give me their webpage. It just went to like a 404.
yeah.
I was like, whoa, well, I guess I'll wait a couple hours.
Even after waiting a couple hours, I waited until midnight and it still was broken. So I ended up
I was
using.
able to get on at 11:30.
I ended up using my Comcast, logging in my parents' Comcast Xfinity and watching it directly off the Xfinity website. Um,
Well, I was able to see it still on the day of the
yeah, same
premiere
here. I was able to.
through their website even.
Yeah, not through their website. I was able to
And-
watch it at like 10.
And on episode 2, on the next week, I was able to watch it from
Yeah, episode 2 is.
from the hour.
Yeah, episode 2 is no issue. But yeah. All right, now for our review roundtable. All right.
Nice theme, by the way.
Yeah. All right. So we all saw Captain America 2.
Yeah. You
General,
guys watched it before me. I watched it last weekend.
and I saw it twice. And James and I, the first time James and I went to see it at midnight.
Yeah, I saw it once. It's all.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
That was really good.
The one thing that I heard before watching it was that it was a Metal Gear Solid movie. I was like, well, you can't see it for the viewers at home. I'm making a confused yet interested face right now.
Yeah.
So I go in thinking that. I'm like, what? MGS? And I go in, and by the first 20 minutes, I understand.
Yeah,
Because there's CQC, and there's that tanker,
Oh
and
my-
hostages.
that first scene where he's just running down the tanker. That was freaking awesome.
And the fight he has with the bad guy at the tanker is pretty good. There's a couple really great.
And it was Beatrock the
fights.
Leaper too. So if you're Captain America, you know Captain America. He's one of his villains.
Yeah.
He plays a small role. People are concerned that the movie's going to be out of a crowd with villains. Don't worry, Beatrock the Leaper was like a cameo-like villain. Same with Crossbones, the guy that would become Crossbones.
Yeah.
I thought Frank Grillo was great as the guy that would become Crossbones.
Yeah, he plays Slade in Arrow, if I remember right.
No, different actor. They look alike, but they're different actors.
Wasn't this like his first big role?
Yeah, this was his first big role. He's actually going to be in the next Purge movie. Anarchy is his next movie.
Okay.
But apparently he's signed on to come back for Captain America 3 to play Crossbones. So we kind of got that origin story for Crossbones.
But yeah, my thoughts on the story were that it was completely predictable, but it was a perfectly fine story.
Hey, and it also brought one of the best memes onto the internet. Hail Hydra.
Yeah, Hail Hydra.
It is a new meme. It's a new meme frenzy. Hail Hydra. You know, but
My favorite one is the scene where in The Dark Knight Rises where Catwoman's whispering in Bruce Wayne's ear.
I love the Sesame Street Hail Hydra. I also like there's one with Cobra soldiers from G.I. Joe, and they're like, Hail Hydra. Wait, no. But yeah, I thought it was great.
Wrong snake.
Yeah. Let's see. There's one thing about that movie I really wanted to talk about. Arnim fucking Zola.
Arnim Zola, yeah.
Whoa! Spoiler alert here.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna spoiler here. All right, Arnim fucking Zola. That was awesome. I think that was personally my favorite surprise of the whole movie. Though my friends were saying, who got to see the movie like a week or so beforehand because they're critics in Arizona, they were like, "Hey, Arnim Zola, enough said." I'm like, "What is that supposed to mean?" He's like, "You'll see, you'll see."
Well, yeah, I mean, like it could be a flashback because there were plenty of flashbacks, like dispersed with that throughout the movie. Because it's only been like I don't know, I guess a year in like the canon that Captain America's been out.
Yeah, and also think that
Of course
the movie also involved two 96-year-old men fighting each other.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier and Captain America, both 96 and fighting.
At the same time, I'm sort of disappointed that they weren't able to. That they decided not to resolve the Winter Soldier conflict in the Winter Soldier movie.
Well, I'm curious. I'm thinking.
Did you see the second after credit scene?
No.
Did you see both credit? And the
I didn't
credit
watch any of the credit scenes because I refuse to sit through credits.
Well,
just
at
to
the
watch a credit
there's
scene.
the first one involved Baron von Strucker, which was and it showed Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which I thought was a pretty awesome
They have
cutscene.
two now. Eventually, going to have three, then four.
And
The
then-
entire movie will just be after credit scenes.
And then the second one involved Bucky Barnes at the Winter Soldier. Spoiler alert! At the museum, the Smithsonian, and he's looking at the exhibit, and he sees his picture, and he just stares at it, and it cuts to black.
Basically, finds an exhibit on himself in the Captain America.
So he's trying to find meaning to himself.
That's still disappointing because they had perfect time and ability to resolve the Winter Soldier within the movie, and they decided not to.
True.
They decided to continue it for another movie, which I have no qualms with them trying to make a Captain America 3 that maybe involves the Winter Soldier again.
Well,
I don't think they
Chris
should.
Evans is saying he's gonna not be playing Captain America much longer, and there's speculation that they're gonna do the comic where Winter Soldier
the switch out.
Yeah, the switch out where Bucky becomes the new Captain America.
If that's the route they're going, then sure.
Yeah, I think that because Bucky actually signed, the guy that plays Bucky signed on for 6 movies on top of including the Winter Soldier, but not including the first Avenger. So when he came back for the Winter Soldier, he signed a 6-movie picture deal.
Okay,
so
that makes more sense.
So he signed on for.
That's a shame because I really like Chris Evans as Captain
I
America.
like Chris Evans too. I think
he's not going to be in Avengers 2 because they're going.
He's going to be in Avengers 2. I think Bucky's going to be in Avengers 2. I bet you he's going to play a cameo.
Yeah, maybe.
He's going to come up somewhere.
He'll be there to snipe some guy, save the day somehow.
Yeah.
Well, no, if Captain America 3 is coming out when?
The same weekend as Batman and Superman.
No, what year?
2016.
And when's Avengers 2 coming out?
Next year.
Next year, okay. I didn't know the timeline.
Yeah, so we have that. But
I also really like the way they did the Falcon. That was just...
the chemistry, he kind of had that sidekick role, which I didn't really care for it, but it was really...
I didn't remember that Falcon was in the movie when I was watching the movie, so I thought he was just going to be, a civilian sidekick, and then they revealed that he's Falcon. I'm like, oh...
That makes sense.
Okay. I kind of liked him better as a civilian sidekick instead of Falcon.
The humor between them was, I thought was funny, like, on your left.
I thought he was a better character when he didn't have a super secret superhero comic
persona
stuff thing going.
What would you give Captain America?
4 out of 5 because it was perfectly enjoyable, but they made a couple of mistakes along the way, and it was sort of a dumb action movie, but it was also pretty fun.
And Robert Redford was a great villain. I gotta admit, Robert Redford change of pace. I think he's usually typecasted, but then now here he is as a villain for the first time ever, which is great. I also love the feel of a 70s spy film, like that spy thriller, espionage kind of feel. So I give it 4 out of 5. Definitely see it. It's
not a 5 out of 5 film.
It's not a 5 out of 5.
It's a perfectly good 4 out of 5.
Personally, I think it's the best Phase 2 movie. Besides, Iron Man 3 wasn't that great, and Thor 2 is good, but Captain America 2 is better than Thor 2.
I still want to watch Thor 2 because I actually really like what they've been doing with Thor, which is Thor is a ridiculous idea, and they actually have been making alright films with him.
Yeah.
So I thought Thor 1 was good, and I thought he was really good in the Avengers. So don't mind.
And Tom Hiddleston is
the Thor franchise itself is just kind of okay. It's not exceptional, but it's definitely not bad. It's certainly very watchable, and kind of enjoyed it. But I have to agree with you guys. 4 out of 5. It's just a solid movie. Yeah,
and I think, and the guys are coming. The same directors are going to be on for Captain America 3, so they're not doing a switch up of directors. So
and supposedly this is supposed to tie into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. somehow.
Well, they did that, and
okay. So I haven't watched any of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and in Winter Soldier, a ton of shit goes down. That makes it so, is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. even a show anymore?
It's going to probably be renewed for Season 2.
What?
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know.
There is no S.H.I.E.L.D. as of
technically,
spring 2014.
They brought Coulson back. They can bring S.H.I.E.L.D. back.
No, they can't. That's the point.
Because S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra.
S.H.I.E.L.D. was Hydra. Hydra was S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which okay.
We already revealed that Bucky Barnes was the Winter
Soldier. We could do.
Everyone knows that though.
We also already revealed that Arnim Zola was in the movie.
So we can do.
We can say that Hydra was S.H.I.E.L.D.
And I feel. And one last thing before we move on.
Which wasn't even that big of a twist. It was nice that they brought back Hydra.
Don't you think it's nice that Hydra waited until they found Captain America again to actually pull out their plan.
Oh gosh.
I thought that was actually pretty clever.
It's like, we could have done this like 10 years earlier or something, but
Yeah,
we just found Captain America.
They really
But it took them forever to get to that level.
Hydra was all, we really should just keep Captain America frozen forever so we can have our plan done.
And then
But
unfreeze
we
it.
really need him for the Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Well, there were some good people in the Shield, so I mean,
there was Nick Fury and
Nick
stuff
Fury,
like
yeah.
that. But,
Oh, did you catch the Pulp Fiction reference?
yeah.
That's good.
All right, so another thing, Game of Thrones, 2 episodes in.
Yep, 2 episodes in to...
Yeah.
we said that it broke HBO.
Yeah, we haven't reviewed it. This is going to be spoilers.
Oh, we're going to go full spoilers here?
We're going to go full spoilers. I think because it's all over the internet at this point. Same as the whole Captain America thing. So
Yep, all right.
I think if people don't want to listen to it, then they could just skip this section. But
So yeah, last Sunday, Joffrey
kicked the bucket.
Yep, down with the king.
I stopped watching Game of Thrones after season 1.
Dude.
Joffrey.
Dude. I need to get him to watch.
You do.
So
But-
are you a book reader?
I've read the first book, but because of time constraints, I've been really very...
Yeah. So that's the brilliant part about the third book, is that when you get there, there's about 3 to 4 chapters between the Red Wedding and Joffrey's wedding.
Mhm.
So it's just a 1-2 punch. Like it's a big gut punch, like right there
Mhm.
for the first wedding. And then when you get to the other one, it's like, oh great, now we have to deal with Joffrey being a dickhole and being a wiener and saying that he won. And he does that. And he's like, I won at everything.
And then he dies.
And then he dies. And it's like, what? Yes. What? Yes. What?
Yes. But yeah, I think Brandon Gleeson, the guy who plays King Joffrey, did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, he did a great job as Joffrey. And
I mean, even though he's become the most hated character on television.
I was talking about this over the weekend with somebody, and it's a real shame with Game of Thrones because they get some great talent for that show.
Oh yeah.
And the problem with the series is that there's so many deaths.
Like
in the
they
characters.
brought in the new character in the first episode, the guy from Oberyn.
Yeah, Oberyn Martell.
Yeah, Oberyn Martell. His character is already badass, and
Yeah, Oberyn Martell is great in this adaptation. I loved him in the book. I love him even more in the series.
and then you know he's gonna die. That much I know.
Oh, you know that?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Some of my friends
Yeah.
spoiled the book.
Real
But
sucks.
He
Really sucks.
fights for Tyrion in A Challenge of Death.
Yeah, I know.
And yeah,
Or,
so
well, I guess you're saying that.
yeah, so I'm curious to see. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's going to be real great seeing
and-
reactions to Oberyn dying now.
And now also, especially when they made him such an awesome character, but also that the way they have it is now they kind of did the penultimate in a way. They did the penultimate episode in the second episode.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to see the fallout of King Joffrey's death to the end of the end of this season.
Yeah.
And there's probably going to be another huge episode. I don't know what that might be.
I'm trying to think of the timeline, and I'm not going to spoil it to you.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay. Presuming they make Tyrion's trial by combat with Oberyn, episode 6 or 7,
Yeah.
then that sort of puts them on a timeline, I guess.
Okay.
I think I know what episode 9 is going to be.
Okay, because I know now that we were discussing this a couple weeks ago before the series premiered that there would probably be 2 big episodes, and I think they pretty much
Episode 2 is probably the big. Oh, okay, no. Episode 2 is a medium to big moment.
Yeah,
I think whenever Tyrion's trial is going to be the big moment, and then 9 is going to be the big moment.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So here, I know what you're saying. From what I can see is they're really changing it up this season, which is great. At least it's not like it's dragging a little bit, where they're just doing story, and then big episode, and then fallout.
The pacing is getting a little slow, which is kind of disappointing. But at the same time, it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah. I'm giving it 4 out of 5.
Yeah. Same.
For both 2 episodes, 4 out of 5.
Yeah. Episode 1 was a strong premiere, and episode 2 was great.
Yeah, episode. Yeah, Daenerys is such a badass, but people also are complaining that Dario is recasted.
I didn't like Dario 1, and I don't really care about Dario 2. So
I think Dario 2 is a little bit better than Dario 1.
Dario 2 is better than Dario 1. If you know what Dario looks like in the books, either is great. Because Dario in the books has dyed blue hair
Yeah.
and a gold mustache that has been waxed, and he has a gold tooth. And
people actually did colored over Dario a picture from the first
people have done
cover mock-ups.
mocks of
and they did a meme like, if you think this guy looks ugly, look at this guy. This is what we did get. So
Dario is bad.
Yeah. I also watched Silicon Valley, the first 2 episodes. I give it 3 out of 5.
I haven't seen it.
It's a really good show. The main character has Asperger's syndrome.
Okay.
So like they're playing with like kind of like a Big Bang Theory in a way, but it's more adult-esque, and it's
But they've never actually revealed that anyone on the Big Bang Theory has any kind of.
But they actually reveal it in this show though. They're like in the first episode, like right off the bat, it's like, so where on the spectrum are you?
So at least they're being honest.
Yeah, so they're being
instead of being not.
Yeah, and the show is only a half hour. Each episode is like a half hour, so it takes it in. I mean, it's something simple you can take it in and easily.
Okay, wait. So tell me about this show, because I read an article in my Popular Science magazine about it that just talked about the technology aspect and said nothing about the show.
Well, the show is about these programmers. They work for a fictional company called Huli, and this guy, he makes an algorithm, a program.
Like a compression algorithm.
Yeah, like a compression algorithm, and now some guy buys it to help him make a business. But then at the same time, the company he previously worked for tried to buy it off of him for $10 million. But now, because they're making their own, just try to beat that guy out of the door. So they're doing that competition, like Google versus Yahoo or whatever.
So it's tech rivalry?
Yeah, tech rivalry going on.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty much unknown cast.
That seems like an alright concept.
It's a really good show. It's really worth giving a watch. They also play on that whole like Hollywood, LA lifestyle a little bit, you know. Computer programmer. You know.
Okay.
But yeah, I really recommend it. 3 out of 5 for both episodes. Some of the humor might go over some people's heads because it's not their kind of thing, but overall, I actually think HBO has another good, decent comedy on their hands.
Okay.
Last night, I saw The Raid 2, Barandal. I will never look at action movies. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
Yeah, I don't think have either of us seen Raid. Or
I haven't heard of this movie until he came back last night and just started going on.
I had heard about the Raid at some point.
Like, my God, I have that movie made me. I am not one to cringe, but there are times that movie made me cringe. Like you could hear every crunch, every punch, stab, gunshot wound, whatever. Like you could hear it and then you can feel it in a way. And like there's one scene where they're doing like a Godfather-like-esque thing where they're trying to assassinate a bunch of people, part of a mobster. So it's like baptism by fire. And the one assassin, she's on a subway car filled with people, and her weapon of choice are hammers. Another guy, his weapon of choice is a baseball and a baseball bat. And how they do it, I'm not going to... I'll just say it makes Kill Bill look like Child's Play.
So you're like...
It was awesome. I'm never going to look at action movies ever again the same way. If you haven't seen it, you don't have to see the first movie to understand it, but you should definitely see it if you're a big action movie guy.
All right.
I give it 4 out of 5. And now for game-wise, I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about that?
No. My main question is, how long do you think it's going to remain subscription?
Gee. I'm probably going to say a year.
Okay.
Year at the most. Personally, I actually enjoy Elder Scrolls Online. It's actually the smoothest MMO launch I've ever played.
That's what people have said, is that it's a perfectly passable MMO.
Yeah, like, out of all the hundreds of missions I've played, only one glitched out.
Oh, okay.
And there are some minor like connection issues, like where you're trying to log in, but I think that's pretty normal for any MMO launch where you're trying to log in. But for the most part, it's a pretty fun game. I can't really give a grading right now because I haven't really played much of it to give a good grading, to give a general consensus. But I can talk about it next time. Try to give a general idea. I put probably a good 10, 15 hours in. I barely even scratched the surface. As I've been stuck in, I think it was the Shivering Isles.
Oh, that's
Not
cool.
the Shivering Isles.
Or Sunset Isles?
No.
Somerset or whatever?
No. Morrowind, but it's by that old volcano. Silver Falls or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's a giant by the volcano in Morrowind, and I've been stuck there. That's my entering part. But
Okay.
there are references to like the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Okay.
Whole instances with the, like DLC on the Shivering Isles. There's references to that. There's references to the Amulet of Kings. Actually, your goal in this game is to find the Amulet of Kings. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't like the end game PvP becoming the Emperor?
Yeah. The end game for like if you want to be PvP, you have to try to gain to be Emperor.
That's weird, I guess, but whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoy it from what I played so far. Graphics are pretty good. I'm very curious to see how it will play like on the PS4 and the Xbox One. I'm very curious to see how that will play out.
Yeah, pretty much nothing's been said about it. And it's coming out in like June.
June? Yeah, June, sometime in June. We'll be getting a beta soon for the PS4, I think. They announced the beta, but there hasn't been a beta technically yet. So, I can't say anything about Final Fantasy XIV, even though that just released for the PS4. So, alright, so that's the reviews now for our pick of the week.
Okay.
Favorite Batman moment. This can be in comics, movies, TV, whatever.
Oh shoot, I gotta think about this.
I personally, when I say Batman moment, you can even choose like just a graphic novel that revolutionized. You know, I'm just saying right now. Who would like to go first?
I guess I could go first. Because yeah. I think I'm gonna go with Justice League Doom, which is the one where Vandal Savage finds out Batman's contingency plans for killing the Justice League if they go rogue. Or I guess he changes Batman's incapacitating plans into kill plans.
Yeah.
And, oh gosh, I don't remember exactly. At the end, it's very good. I don't want to spoil it.
I enjoyed the movie, Justice League Doom. That was a good movie.
It's got the Batman moment at the end where they're deciding whether or not to keep him in the Justice League. I guess is pretty good.
I remember that scene. It's very like a heartfelt moment, like where he like, what would you have done? And Batman is like so nonchalant, but at the same time he's like, what would you have done if you were in my shoes? Where I'm the only one without superpowers.
Yeah, Batman basically goes up to Superman and says, "You are a straight up dick, ready to explode. I'm Batman."
and he's a guy without superpowers, while all you people have.
Superman and everyone else on the Justice League could destroy the world in a blink of the eye, and they're getting mad at Batman for having plans should they decide to go
on an anger rampage.
Yeah. And Superman's like, yeah, you know what? You're totally right. Because Superman continues to be a Boy Scout.
Yeah. James?
Alright, I think one of the most badass Batman moments was from the Dark Knight Returns comic. And I originally saw this in the animated series, because in the animated series they had one episode where they referenced like the like 30s Batman and the Dark Knight Returns Batman, and in that one is when but they also have it in Dark Knight Returns movie as well. So
which he just watched for the first time.
Yeah, Jack got me to watch recently. And it's basically the same thing where Batman's fighting this giant, huge mutant guy in this mud pit. And at one point, he's just like, "This isn't a mud pit. This is an operating table, and I'm the surgeon." And then he just proceeds to break every limb on this guy.
That's funny and both bad at the same time.
It was much more brutal in the animated series, I thought, when the one scene where they had it. Because as he's breaking the guy's arm, there's like cracks of lightning just to blend out the sound of his screams.
Yeah. Dark Knight Returns really changed the way I looked at Batman. But personally, my favorite Batman moment, it probably will have to be, this is a tough one actually, I'm probably going to have to go with Mask of the Phantasm. It was the first great Batman animated film.
Okay.
It bombed at the box office, but it hit such a cult following. I'm one of the people that made the cult following, part of that cult following, and of all the Batman stories, it was really truly the first dark Batman movie if you really look at it. I mean, like in terms of like Nolan-esque.
All right, can I change my entry?
Okay.
All right. Just because it still involves the Bruce Wayne Batman in the Batman Beyond movie, Return of the Joker. There's a flashback scene.
That's one I was gonna say. That's one I was gonna say for that's real dark.
Like, oh my gosh, that hit me so hard.
Well, that's not really a Batman moment. That's more like a Robin moment, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Involved Batman.
But. Yeah. I was gonna mention that.
Yeah. You get to one joke in there too, where it's like, "I on the other hand," so on the other hand, it's very subtle.
I mean, Batman. There's so much in the 75 years he's been around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're doing this Batman pick of the week and our next coming up, our SmackDown to end the episode. But I felt Batman, he's really changed. I mean, his movies revolutionized the comic book movie industry. He's revolutionized comics.
He's pretty much been the only successful DC movie franchise,
practically,
other than the old Superman movies.
Yeah, besides the old Superman movies, he's really the only successful. Well, Man of Steel could be considered successful, even though it wasn't that great. But yeah, I mean, 75 years is a lot. I mean, the animated series, my favorite animated series of all time.
Still my favorite cartoon show ever.
It's a great series.
It's very relevant today too, if you really watch it.
Like, I mean, it's a great kids show, but there's so many adult themes that they deal with so appropriately.
Yeah. And even the way Kevin Conroy, he came into the scene in the animated series, and he's still doing it after 20 plus years.
Yeah.
I mean, his 21 years later, he's doing Arkham Knight.
Oh, he's in that one?
Yeah, he's doing the voice in Arkham Knight.
Because wasn't he
Batman
absent in Arkham
Well,
Origins?
yeah, but he said before Arkham Origins came out, he's like, I'm doing an Arkham Origins game, and people were like, oh, he might be the game might be Arkham Origins might be a flashback. Well, that never was. So, like a flashback game where you're just reminiscing about a certain night. But that never was, so it's pretty much confirmed.
Well, he was talking about Arkham Knight when he was talking about an Arkham game. And the other studio was making Arkham Origins.
Yeah, but they didn't confirm Arkham Knight at that time, so that's where people got confused.
Yeah, disappointing. But anyways.
All right, favorite moment. There's a lot of my favorite moments in Batman history.
Yeah,
it's a lot. So.
But also, an integral part of Batman is his villain,
his arch nemesis, to be exact. Without Batman, we can't have the Joker. Yeah. Without the Joker, we can't have Batman.
I mean, we could, but
we could.
Less entertaining.
Yeah, but it would be a lot less entertaining. For our week SmackDown.
We got
Heath Ledger's Joker versus Mark Hamill Joker and Jack Nicholson's Joker. It's a three-way. But chances are Jack Nicholson will not be chosen, unfortunately.
I think Jack Nicholson is highly underrated, though.
Yeah, he is highly underrated. But out of the three, I think the first two are probably going to be focused on. James, you want to go first?
All right. Well, as I said, Jack Nicholson is seriously underrated. I just want to make that clear.
I think that's general consensus here.
Yeah, he's an alright Joker.
The average person you talk to will say, like, screw Nicholson, Heath Ledger did better. It's like, no, they were both fantastic. But I'm going to have to go with Mark Hamill. And it's a shame that Rashid's not here to agree with me, because I know he's a huge fan of Mark Hamill. Just because you think the Joker and you think of that laugh that's become so iconic. And Mark Hamill's the only person who's really been able to pull it off so successfully, except for maybe that one guy who's in Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
That was pretty solid.
Oh, yeah, he sounded a lot like...
but that's because he sounded like Hamill.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that Hamill's retired the voice. Or at least he said that he's retired the voice again. Cause
he's retired once before.
Because, after Arkham Asylum, he retired Joker, and then they brought him back.
But then he also
City.
retired after Batman. He retired, and then he came back for Batman Beyond, and then he retired again and came back for Asylum. Yeah, so he keeps on retiring.
I'm fairly sure now is the time.
I think he's...
Because I think he said the voice is dead. Like, he's like, I can't do that voice anymore.
Yeah.
But as far as just comparing the characters instead of just the voice, because that'd be lame, the animated Joker is just as ruthless as Heath Ledger's Joker, if not more in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
But then he also has that comic book feel in many ways that Jack Nicholson's Joker has, which is also very central to the character. Like Heath Ledger's Joker, great Joker, but they kind of modernized him, made him more realistic in some ways. I mean, he says it himself. He just goes around with like gasoline and guns, and he doesn't have any of the crazy acid flower spray or Joker gas or anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucked up comic stuff in the Mark Hamill Joker.
He's scary. He's good, but he's not as based off of the source material as Hamill or Nicholson. And I feel like Hamill's got like this mixture that is just
Hamill, I think, has taken all the best things about the Joker and combined them into one Joker.
And this is something for the animated series. They couldn't kill people, and he still comes across as just ruthlessly homicidal.
Yeah.
He's killed people
really
in he's killed people in the animated movies, but he's not killed anybody in the TV show.
Yeah.
Exactly. So technically, he killed people in the animated series. Technically, if you count the movies as part of the animated series.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they really try and censor it.
Yeah.
There's laugh gas. There's like laugh gas that gives people a smile while they're dying.
It's scary. It's almost worse than death.
Yeah, like straight up guns and acid and stuff like that.
Alex?
I'm gonna have to agree with James. I'm gonna have to go with Mark Hamill here because there's a lot of parts of Hamill Joker's over like the animated series that he's done, and I guess you could technically count Arkham City and Asylum if you wanted.
Oh my God! Don't get me started on Arkham City. I mean, oh my God, he was phenomenal.
But there's a lot of fucked up stuff that happens with Joker when he's Mark Hamill because they do a lot of stuff that the comics have done. And they also add in some stuff that is, just Joker things.
As far as the Batman animated series, they actually had to redesign him to make him less scary.
For instance, with the addition of Harley Quinn, with animated series, adding her into the entire Batman mythos for, like, her being a completely new character for the animated series, and then becoming adopted by the entire Batman universe as well. Joker basically like abuses this obsessed like psychologically abused
and
woman.
she's pretty oblivious to it.
Yeah, well, no, she loves it.
Yeah, she loves
and
it.
That's fucked up for one thing.
Sadism.
The Under the Red Hood movie.
Oh my God.
Is a great adaptation of killing Robin because Joker is a dick.
Yeah.
And that Batman Beyond movie, the flashback to when he brainwashes Robin into becoming a Joker slave.
And then tries to get him to kill Batman.
Yeah, which he almost succeeds in doing before he's killed by his own slave thing.
Them feels.
Yeah, it's really messed up, and I think Mark Hamill brings like that sort of like mad. He's like a Mad Hatter. He's like he's Mad Joker. And I think while Heath Ledger is a perfectly good live action Joker, it's the flash in the pan. There's the modern close to reality Batmans, and those were the Nolan Batmans pretty much.
Yeah.
And then there's the animated series ones that are much closer to the comics, and are still their own thing for the most part. And Mark Hamill thrives in that.
And who also got choked up at the end of Arkham City? If you didn't get choked up when...
See, I didn't.
You didn't?
I did not.
I mean, I'm not saying cry or anything. Get choked up a little bit. Just because it's so depressing
I had a moment, but I didn't really get choked up.
I got choked.
It was very symbolic, though.
Yeah. It was very symbolic when he dies. And the way they do it, it was phenomenal. The funny thing is, I would have saved you. And he had the last laugh.
I don't think Batman needs to get that choked up about the Joker in Arkham City. I don't know why he goes super depressed about it afterwards.
Well,
I know the point of Batman is that like Batman can't live without the Joker and Joker can't live without Batman. But at the same time, Batman is probably messed up if he does not, rejoice in the fact that Joker essentially killed himself by not trusting Batman for once.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't get choked up over the tragedy that is Joker.
Well, I don't get choked up that he died necessarily. I got choked up more of because it was Mark Hamill's last great performance as the Joker.
That's something.
As far as we know.
Zach, you gonna play devil's advocate for us here?
Yeah, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I'm gonna go with Ledger Joker.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, personally, I would look at it this way: Hamill best animated Joker, Ledger best live action Joker.
Yeah,
hands down. I mean, that's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to compare the two.
Yeah, I mean, they're their own separate entities, and because I'm playing devil's advocate here, I'm going to go with Ledger, mainly because his Joker was the Joker that we deserved and needed. You see what I did there?
The Joker carried the second movie.
Yeah, it blew my mind. I saw the first movie like 5 times in theaters, and it never got old. I still watch it now. Ledger's performance still gets me every time.
I love how they did his makeup too. Like, he was legitimately scary, especially from a distance, because you just have those kind of black eyes and that red face.
Oh yeah, it's funny too because the beginning of the movie, the opening scene itself, like where you finally first see the Joker, he was wearing a Joker mask the whole time, and then when he takes it off, he's like,
it's even worse.
So he's wearing something to cover up his makeup. So it was like makeup on top of makeup.
But to go on top of that, like it is kind of what I said, going away from the source material slightly, where they had him actually wear makeup instead of it being himself. But that's also what kind of bothered me about the Nicholson movies, that his body was white and everything, like the source material, but then they had him wear makeup to look normal.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, that was Tim Burton. But there were scenes like him breaking out of jail.
Yeah,
is chilling. Like where he's like, or when every time he went, he was like, "You want to know how I got these scars?"
Yeah, there's a very good disturbing quality to Heath Ledger's Joker that really carried the middle chapter of Nolan Batman.
And if it wasn't for The Dark Knight and Heath Ledger's Joker, it probably wouldn't have made an impact on the comic book movie industry as it did.
Yeah, because Batman Begins wasn't that great of a movie.
It was good, but it wasn't great.
It was perfectly passable, and if they continue to do that series, It would have been fine.
Here's the funny thing too.
But they needed a Joker. They needed to bring in a Joker, and they got the perfect Joker for it.
They were actually originally going to go with Crispin Glover.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm kind of glad they didn't. But I personally, Ledger, if it wasn't for Hamill, I probably would have said Ledger's the best Joker. But because I'm playing Devil's Advocate, I'm going with Ledger. And the fact that he's changed the way we look at the Joker in a way. I mean, in live action at least. So
Again, I know I already picked Hamill, but to play Devil's Advocate for your Devil's Advocate. Nicholson, he was like being the first live action Joker.
He had a lot on his shoulders.
Yeah, he set a really good precedent. And if you think about it, that movie really wasn't a Batman movie. It was a Joker movie.
Yeah, but technically, Jack Nicholson wasn't the first live action Joker. He was Romero on the Batman show.
Yeah.
The guy who wore
Caesar.
a mustache underneath of his makeup.
Yeah, Caesar Romero.
That you could still see in some Blu-ray renditions.
Yeah, but still, I mean, Jack Nicholson had a lot on his shoulders. And practically, he was an unknown at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Robin Williams originally was offered the role, but they ended up going with somebody cheaper.
I love Robin Williams, but I couldn't picture him doing that.
You know who I could picture Robin Williams playing? Dr. Hugo Strange.
Yeah, that'd be good.
See, I would go with the Riddler.
You know, he was also offered. He was
That would
also
be just as dumb.
He was also offered the Riddler, but then they ended up with a cheaper Jim Carrey. So he was cheated out of playing a Batman villain, not once, but twice. So, and Williams always wants to go back to play a Batman villain.
Yeah, Robin Williams is a huge nerd, so.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have time for today.
Yep.
I feel today was a good episode. We're still going through some restructuring. If whoever listens to this, if you have any ideas for a title, a new title for our podcast, sound off in the comments below, and we will give you a shout out probably if we decide to use that as our title.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Zachariah.
James.
I'm Alex, and
This is Geek Talk.